Greetings, everyone. These tomatoes came from my garden last summer. They're very beautiful to look at. But what I'm about to discuss isn't so beautiful. However, I want to say to you that I want you to listen with an open mind. And I want you not to judge the person that I'm about to talk to you about because she's very young. And you have to remember when you were young, sometimes we weren't thinking before we made choices. Even as adults, sometimes we make poor choices. And so just take it easy on her. Hopefully, she would have learned from that experience. The reason why I'm sharing this story is because I think it needs to be shared so that young people and other folks can be very careful about decisions that we make because sometimes it end terribly because we didn't think it through. Now this is about a young girl, very young, a very impressionable age that is going through some serious situation in her life, and she got to the point where she became desperate and reached out to Obeah man. He invited her to his home with the pretense that he's going to be able to cure her of that situation that she's dealing with. And of course, he tells her that someone, took her personal items to the graveyard. And as a result of that, she's suffering from this terrible thing that she's trying to get rid of. Now, he tells her, of course, the grave dirt is used and asks her to bring her hair, pubic hair, and underarm hair to him, and he's going to use it and cure her. Of course, she goes to him, and this is the part that's very scary. She tells no one she's going to see him. And when she gets there, he asks her to take off her clothes because he needs to anoint her body. And he stripped himself naked as well and told her that when she anoints his body, she is transferring that spirit that is attached to her onto him. Needless to say, she went. She said there's a level of discomfort that she felt, but she was desperate. And this is what I want to reach out to you, young lady or young man, or even older people. Desperation is something that you have to stay away from. When you get to the point where you're desperate, you have already lost hope and faith in the belief that, there's a supreme being who is in control and who can take care of anything and everything. Okay. So the big mistake she made was to go there with that sense of desperation. And of course, he is in that position where he's able to make promises that he can cure her of whatever ails her, and works on her vulnerability. I mean, this is one person that I'm hearing about. And believe me, it makes me so disturbed to think that how many other young people is this man doing this to? How many other persons who are feeling desperate about getting answers or solution to their problem is he luring? Because what he's actually doing is luring these ones to his home under the pretense that he can help them whatever problem they have. And not just that, but he's also charging them money. So she's paying for his service, and in reality, what she actually went there and did was serviced him by massaging him and, kind of playing into his demented games that he's playing with other folks, emotion and all of that. I just want to appeal to the young people in Jamaica. If you're listening to this video, there are some men in our country that are scandalous. And there are some men that will do everything to exploit the female. Now, some of you will listen and you'll say, well, the young lady had a choice. She chose to go there. I hear you. And I'm sure she won't do that anymore. I don't want to dwell on that. I want to dwell on the mentality of an individual who would lure a young girl who needs him for guidance. He should be guiding the young lady, My issue is not that she went to go see some spiritual advisor. My issue is that she went to see this man who was prepared to violate her. And the thing is, a lot of adults are also going to these individuals, and the common sense doesn't kick in when people are asking you to do things that make you uncomfortable. Because I'm sure the young girl felt some way, would have felt a level of discomfort, because I asked her, well, at what point did you start feeling uncomfortable with what he was asking of you? Now, when I inquired if he asked her to come back for further treatment, he didn't. And of course, she said she wouldn't go back because she just felt really bad about it. In fact, whatever problem she was having before she went, it's now, expanded because she ended up feeling dirty after she left there. And so I'm going to implore the young people, or anyone for that matter, listening to this video, never become so desperate where you lose all ability to think rationally. Because whatever it is you're facing, whatever you're going through, there's always an answer. There's always a solution. In this case, the young girl felt that if she went there, she would get rid of this really painful and embarrassing situation she's going through. And she said she was prepared to try anything. Sometimes you really have to assess your life and your situation and understand that even in the worst of circumstances, even when you're going through the biggest, deepest, darkest problem, you should never get to the point where you're prepared to try anything. That is very desperate, and that desperation can lead to your demise. I asked her if anyone knew she was going there. She told her, confided in anyone she was going, and she said no. And I found that to be very scary, because in cases like this, she could have gone missing and no one would have known where her last or whereabout was. So, folks, these things are happening. Now, we had the discussion, and she said that that's the reason why they don't want to legalize Obeah in Jamaica, because people are going to use it for evil. But the thing is, I'm not sure how one legalized spirituality. And I don't think that's the reason why they didn't make it legal, because people are going to be taking disadvantage of other folks. They're already doing that. They don't need a legislation one way or the other to determine if they're going to be doing these wicked things. The primary purpose of this video is to tell people that there isn't anything that you're going through that you won't find a resolution if you turn to Mother Nature, because the issue she's having can be addressed, and the answer lies with Mother Nature. As I said before, the universe is conspiring with us to bring about a desired reality. If you have it in your mind and you write it down and you take steps towards it, it will manifest. That is my mantra. In your mind, because the universe is telling you it's available to you. Writing it down is a spiritual thing, where when you write it down, it's like speaking it. When you open your mouth and you speak it, you manifest it. And of course, your faith comes in when you walk towards it. Okay? Now, this young lady and I are coming up with all these steps of things that she can do to fix this situation that she's going through. But I wanted to highlight it here as a kind of warning to young people and other folks to be very careful who you're getting involved with, who you're seeking assistance from, especially when it comes to spiritual matters. Now, he took her pubic hair and all that, and he burnt it, and she was having a side effect, and that is a real spiritual thing. Do not allow anyone to use your hair, your sweat, your blood to do any work on your behalf, because what this individual will be doing ultimately is to bind you to him. And so I hope as she moved forward, she would have learned a valuable lesson. She would learn that you cannot trust people so wholeheartedly. You have to be very careful. I'm encouraging you folks to be careful and not to attempt to address any problem with desperation. Okay, so in the meantime, between time, stay blessed, everyone. Stay prayed up